Ready? Let's start over.
Okay. Melissa.
Your job is you're going to take the initial segment of this rat. Is this a boy or a girl?
Boy.
Yes. We'll just take out, the little evidence that he's packing, but we have the anogenital distance, okay?
Yes.
And he's, yeah. This is what color is this? Gray and white fancy rat. And what part of your write-up will say there's no alopecia, there's no obvious injuries. The rat is fine other than he's very dead, okay?
Hannah.
Your job is you're going to weigh this rat. So if you look here on the little numbers, we need to know how many grams.
170.
Perfect. Super accurate scale, I know. So that form that I gave you that had the range, does anyone have it handy? Has like a little graph on it. Savannah.
Quickly. Studies, notes. Normal body temperature. Oh,
No, it has like the rat husbandry on it, the rat and rabbit husbandry, and it has a little graph at the top, and it just lists the whole.
oh yeah.
That's the
Oh,
one.
okay.
Okay, so now find 170 on there. Let me see,
Medium.
and we'll just put it on the video.
Medium 3342.
Yeah. So if you look at this, and you look at where the 170 is, we're gonna say this rat is like 40 days old. Okay. And so that just goes in your write-up. Okay.
Nicole.
Your job is you're going to prep for the necropsy by attaching the specimen to the necropsy board, utilizing T-pins at the level of the carpus and tarsus. Good job.
Sarah.
Your job is you're going to make the initial skin cut. Take the Mighty Mayo scissors, elevating the skin above the perineum. You're going to make a small incision into the skin while preserving underlying structures. That's the most important thing you got to say in your write-up. Everybody needs all the information from everybody's jobs, but you don't need to say who did what. Okay?
But
Okay.
we need to say that we did it.
Yeah, well, just
How
I
I
participated.
assisted
I
by
did
doing
this.
this.
This the rat that I used was this weight, this
Right,
age,
right, right,
whatever, this
Yeah, yeah,
description. I participated in the necropsy by doing this job.
Okay. Larissa.
Your job is you're going to take the blunt probe, you're going to insert it into the initial skin cut, elevate the skin, cut along the blunt probe, theoretically, with super sharp scissors, through the abdominal region, okay, while preserving underlying structures. This rat is not cooperating. All right.
Jenny.
Your job is you're going to continue the initial skin cut by inserting the blunt probe into the incision, elevating the skin, cutting along the blunt probe through the thoracic region while preserving underlying structures. Okay, so a lot of repetition, guys.
Abby.
Your job is you're going to extend the initial skin cut by inserting the blunt probe, elevating the skin, cutting along the blunt probe through the cervical region until you reach the bottom of the jaw while preserving underlying structures. Okay? So everybody should have a job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's good. Now what you need to add to this, you need to add that you wore all the PPE. You need to read through that Jove protocol that I gave you. It reviews all the tissue sampling. Don't just say, this is how you do it. Say what we did was. Just because it's a rat, it's the same thing. It's the same cause of death. All of it is exactly the same. That's why I give you guys that write-up, okay? It just makes your life a lot easier. But we're not going to take this rat apart because this rat is one of the hawk's supper and they get really annoyed. So we're just going to get this through this as quickly as possible. What I'm doing now is I'm separating the skin from the underlying muscle by using a blunt probe to cut through the fascia. And then from here, I'm going to make an incision up the limbs, just thereby exposing the body of this little specimen. All right. This is where you would do, okay, you would examine the rat in situ as it is, right? So there's no blood clots, there's no major bruising, there's nothing wrong with this animal. It's a very healthy animal. This right here, this is called the linea alba, literally the white line. It separates the right side from the left side of the abdomen. This is also the rectus abdominis. Now, if this dude was utilizing the gym membership we got him, we'd have a nice six-pack here, but here we are. Anyway, so we're going to cut up the white line. I've got to get some new scissors. And then go through the internal, external, and transverse obliques, or the abdominal muscles, and expose the abdominal contents. Something I want you guys to notice is how big this liver is for the size of this animal. I mean, that is huge. That's like a quarter of his body weight, right? And that's got to be a good 12-gram liver at least. It's very healthy. That's a great color, but it's a huge organ for this size of animal. If you think about it, rats don't have the most spectacular diets, right? They kind of live off of everything else. So they need the liver. The liver is a good line of defense for something when they eat crap. They do not have a gallbladder. You can see there's no gallbladder here, but they do produce bile. And then,
Can I take a picture of the liver before
yeah,
you?
yeah, before we do anything.
Yeah, I don't wanna-
Okay, there. Can you see it good?
Yeah.
It's just, it amazes me how big their liver is. Can you imagine if our liver was a quarter of our body cavity?
Maybe I
It'd
can
be-
take more.
There you go. Okay, well, the good things. Now let's move the liver out of the way, and we're gonna look at the little stomach here. There's the stomach. Up here, this is the cardiac portion. Here is the pyloric portion. And then if you look from the pyloric portion, you've got the first loop of the duodenum. Right here, see it's a little lighter color? That's the pancreas. From here, you have the duodenum, jejunum, ileum, cecoiliac junction, ascending, transverse, descending, colon, rectum, anus. Whee! See? Okay, there. It's with the digestive system. This here is a spleen. Now look at this guy. Okay, his spleen is a little enlarged, but it's not like, oh my gosh, freak out. It is a little enlarged though, because it was probably really busy working when he was harvested. The spleen is an organ of filtration. It'll circulate the blood through and remove dead and dying red cells. Red cells have a lifespan of about 27 days, depending on species, breed, age, all that stuff. So the spleen's job is to take all that apart. It'll keep the iron molecule right there and send everything else to the liver. The liver's going to recycle it to be bile. Now, he doesn't have a gallbladder, but he's constantly secreting bile because we already established rats just generally don't eat well unless they're Jody's rats. Meanwhile, all that iron hangs out here. Rats are the ultimate prey animal. Everything likes to eat rats, right? So they've got a lot of really cool defense mechanisms. We talked about the Harderian glands. They're up here in the sinuses, and they can blow it out their nose and leave big red drops on the ground. So this guy's trying to get home, and a predator's chasing him. He's going to blow the Harderian glands. Predator's like, I'm not falling for that, and just blows on past it, right? So the next line of defense that works for this little ratty rat, if you look here, see how high up the right kidney is? I mean, it's right under the liver, okay? See that? Really high up. Now look over here. The left kidney is really low. They're offset by a lot. Our kidneys are offset as well, but not as dramatically as a rat. When a rat is running, they hump. You guys ever seen a rat run? A predator's going to grab them. They're going to grab that hump, right? Because that's the easiest thing to grab. More than likely, one of the incisors or canines are going to puncture a kidney, but more likely will miss the other kidney. You can live with only one kidney. It's not fun, but you can do it. So let's just say this rat was running, right? And the predator grabbed him, got a hold of him, punctured one of the kidneys, and the rat just goes limp. All right? Predator's like, cool, I got supper, I'm going to go home, it's going to be great. Meanwhile, the rat is waiting for a very key moment. That predator's going to take his mind off of things because he's got his dinner, right? And the rat's totally limp. He'll relax his jaw muscles just a smidge. And what'll happen is this guy will give an almighty jerk, catch him off guard, and he opens his mouth and drops the rat. Rat runs off. Okay? He's hurt, but he'll be okay. He's got another kidney, he can get home. Now he's trying to get home. He's had a pretty rough day, right? Just running. I just can't run anymore. Okay, now the spleen's going to do its job. Remember all those iron molecules the spleen has? It's going to flood the system with iron. Iron carries oxygen. Maybe it's enough to get this guy home. There's some really cool redundancy going on here to get him home. And then if we look here, let's see if we can find this cute little bladder right there. And then expose the testes. And then you've got the vas deferens, the epididymis, and there's his testes. And then let's move the liver out of the way. Come on. There's the diaphragm. It separates the abdominal cavity from the thoracic cavity. We'll cut through the diaphragm and go right up the sternum. And expose the chest cavity. Now this is what's really important for you guys to notice. Okay, we harvest animals with CO2. CO2 is an approved euthanasia method when done correctly. If you displace the oxygen too quickly, it's scary and painful for the animal. If you displace it slowly, they literally fall asleep and die. But there's obvious telltale signs. Now look at how dark his chest cavity is. You see the pink tissue here of the lungs? Look how dark it is over here. That's where he succumbed. The dark tissue of the lung, that's textbook CO2 poisoning. That Jove protocol I gave you writes about that. That's why I give it to you, to make it as easy as possible, okay? Now let's just extend this right on up. And you can see lymph nodes and salivary glands, and this, come on, let's excise out your teeny little trachea.
Is that his little heart?
Yeah, there's his little heart right there. It's very dark
So
as
when
well.
we do our write-up, do we need to say slightly enlarged spleen?
Well, my concern is that when you start doing that, they're going to want to know, well, why?
Yeah. Okay.
So I just try to avoid it,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And then you want to talk about how the organs all look great color. The size was representative of their species, things like that. I mean, at least a 12-ground liver, and you see how big the liver is. You can figure out how much the other stuff, like the spleen would be what, 4 grams, the kidneys maybe 2. So just, yeah, you don't want to give them things to pick apart. Where is your trachea, dude? He's got, I can feel it, but I can't get to it. There. Okay. You guys see the teeny little trachea?
Mm-hmm.
So cute. As you're putting a tube in that thing, that would be hard. Okay, any questions about the necropsy? Okay. If you need help with the write-up,